The news today is very unfortunate, very, very unfortunate. Andrew, welcome to the program. Thank you for joining us. So we've got 101 fake Republicans, that so-called Republicans, just voted to pass a $1.2 trillion spending abomination. It's over 1,000 pages, and it seems like Speaker Johnson was very much a part of this. Andrew, what do the folks need to know about this atrocity masquerading as a funding bill?
Well, just another day, another backstabbing from the Congress critters, Alex. This is just such a abomination. I really have a hard time believing at this point that Speaker Mike Johnson has our best interest in heart. I hoped he was going to be better than Kevin McCarthy, but frankly, apart from a few J6 tapes leaked, we really haven't seen too much from him that's that great, apart from some nice words and having Jack Hibbs pray over Congress, which I appreciate. But these things aren't stopping the critical issues that are facing our country. So as the folks just saw at home, the picture of this bill, it's incredibly large. Of course, they gave everybody a few months to read it. No, just kidding. It was released last night at 2 a.m. For people to go through and read it. Of course, nobody did, but they passed it anyway. So don't worry about it. If you go into the document, which I did, and you do a little Control F search and just put a $sign, it yields 1,736 results. And I scrolled through some of those, millions and billions of dollars. Now, I have a sheet here from Citizens for Renewing America that I want to share because they have some points and illustrate some of the things that are in this bill. So here's just a quick flyover. Of course, I haven't had the opportunity to read the 1,000 plus page bill. Nobody who voted for it did, but here are a few things that it does. It creates 12,000 new special immigrant visas for Afghan refugees entering into the United States. It does not prevent future funding for gender ideology, critical race theory, DEI, but it does expand K through 12 funding without any restrictions. Of course, we saw the president, the State of the Union, talking about how he wanted to get the kids younger and younger through preschool. It provides $1 billion above Pelosi levels to implement wasteful climate change policies. CDC and NIH continue to get funding, especially for gun violence research, which was $12.5 million. It allows for central bank digital currencies. It funds weaponized Biden cabinet officials. It provides at least $300 million for the war in Ukraine. And just to top it off, it gives a 5.2% pay increase for the bureaucrats who allowed all this to happen. So, long story short, everybody loses except the deep state uniparty hacks that voted for this. There were about, I believe, 5. Let me pull up my reference here. 5 congressmen from Florida who voted for this. Conservative states had tons of uniparty hacks lining up to put yes on this bill. It's an atrocity, Alex. It's a losing situation for the American people. And folks need to call their congressmen and say, what in the world are you thinking? If we don't make this right, we are going to get you out of office. And now it's moved to the Senate. So really, after calling their congressperson and reprimanding them, they need to call their senators and implore them to stop this.
Yeah, I mean, to say this is a disappointment wouldn't even scratch the surface. This is an outrage. I mean, this is like these hacks spitting in your face and telling you it's raining. This is not why the American people sent Republicans to Congress. They did not send them there to give Joe Biden all the money he wants to do all of these criminal things. And folks, to put this in perspective, the national debt is going up by more than $1 trillion every 100 days. Okay, even if we had money coming out our ears, this would all be a terrible, wicked, unconstitutional idea. We're broke. Okay. Your kids are being saddled with debt you're never going to be able to pay. This is an outrage. This is an attack on every American citizen, folks. This is a total outrage. I want to put up the list of the Republicans that voted for it. We're not going to read it because it would take too long. 101 of them. And I wonder, too, I mean, do they realize that the voters are going to find this out? I've got to figure they think the election is just going to be rigged or something, because no sensible Republican could vote for this and think, oh, I bet my constituents are going to be happy about this. None. I mean, none. And we do have news that Marjorie Taylor Greene is going to be, or actually already did, file a motion to vacate the chair and replace Speaker Mike Johnson. Folks, if you're not reading the New American Magazine, you should be. We just did a very long, I think it's an hour-long exclusive interview with Marjorie Taylor Greene, and I haven't even gotten through the whole thing yet, but it's really, really good. I mean, there's only a handful of people in Washington, D.C. that actually seem to be looking out for our interests. And as you read this interview with Marjorie Taylor Greene, you'll get that sense. But I want to play this quick clip of her explaining why she is now working to replace this just terribly depressing Speaker Mike Johnson. Let's play that.
As with rules and promises to the American people that we would bring regular order back to Congress. Speaker Johnson has betrayed that by passing 3 CRs and then forcing us to pass or to vote on a 2-part omnibus, the second one being today. He also only gave us, I don't even know how, we had 1 day basically to read 1,012 pages, breaking the 72-hour rule. This is a betrayal of the American people. This is a betrayal of Republican voters. And the bill that we were forced to vote on forced Republicans to choose between funding to pay our soldiers and in doing so, funding late-term abortion. This bill was basically a dream and a wish list for Democrats and for the White House. It was completely led by Chuck Schumer, not our Republican Speaker of the House, not our conference, and we weren't even allowed to put amendments to the floor to have a chance to make changes to the bill. I filed the motion to vacate today, but it's more of a warning and a pink slip. I respect our conference. I paid all my dues to my conference. I'm a member in good standing, and I do not wish to inflict pain on our conference and to throw the House in chaos. But this is basically a warning, and it's time for us to go through the process, take our time, and find a new Speaker of the House that will stand with Republicans and our Republican majority instead of standing with the Democrats.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you, Marjorie Taylor Greene, folks. Almost half of Republicans voted for this atrocity. And so go look at that list. And if one of your representatives, alleged representatives, I should say, is on that list, you know what to do. We've also got Thomas Massey on why he voted against this atrocity. Let's go ahead and roll that.
A gentleman from Texas is recognized.
Yield 1 minute for my friend from Kentucky, Mr. Massey.
Gentleman from Kentucky is recognized.
Today, we're setting a dangerous precedent. We're suspending the 3-day rule so that our constituents don't have time to see what's in this bill. But we know a few things that are in it. We know it spends too much money. We know it's got money to groom our children down to ages of 12 into being trans. We know it's got funding for facilities that do late-term abortions. Why would Republicans vote for that? Because it's got a dangerous cocktail that the swamp has always served. And we're drunk on it today. What is that cocktail? Earmarks and budget gimmicks with a chaser of the fumes from DCA, the smell of jet fuel at DCA. Because what are we going to do as soon as we betray Americans by passing this bill? We're all going to the airport and we're going on recess for 2 weeks. This is not the way we should do the nation's business. We need to preserve the 3-day rule. We need to follow our own rules. We need to bring these bills through committee and do regular order. And I urge people to vote against this bill, and I yield back the balance of my time.
The gentleman yields.
Thank you, Thomas Massey. It's just such an outrage, Andrew. I hope everybody watching us right now will talk to their pastors, talk to the folks in their community. We cannot allow this to continue, or America will cease to exist. Andrew, what do you recommend that people do about this obvious, stunning, horrific betrayal of our Constitution and the American people?
Yeah, not to sound arrogant, Alex, but I know exactly what the answer is. And I know what the answer is for this is for a long time, because the answer outlives me by about 200 plus years. It's a little document called the United States Constitution. I have a copy here. You can see mine's all highlighted because I've actually read it. I think I have something on a handful of congressmen. But there's a little thing in there called Article 1, Section 8. It's really not that big of a deal. All it does is just say exactly what Congress can and can't do. And in that, we see it's a very short list. It actually fits on about 2 or 3 pages. And it goes through. It says that it can borrow money on the credit of the United States. They've nailed that one pretty well, but money's not even the same as when this was written, so that's totally changed. And it lists a handful of things. It even gets as specific as talking about post offices and post roads. So what this shows, Alex, is that our framers had great intentionality and specificity and took great pains in outfits that are much more layered than ours and buildings that are much hotter than ours on a summer stretch of time in July of 1776, and then later on in 1789 to draft 2 documents, the Declaration of Independence and the United States Constitution, to specifically set up a limited government that had everything planned out so that it would be limited. But the way it works is that people are educated about what that government is, and they're active. They know their government. They know their rights. They know what the Lord has bestowed upon them and bequeathed to them with. So my answer is not a sexy answer. It's an old one, but it's read the Constitution, study the Constitution, and then hold our elected officials accountable to the Constitution. That's the only thing, Alex, that's going to fix this. So go and read Article 1, Section 8. It's going to take you 3 minutes. Go to senate.gov. We actually have that in clip 5 here. You can go up there. You can click the Find Your Senators button. This is the best thing you can do right now. If you're a citizen watching this, this has gone through the House. You have to go to the Senate. You can go there, click your state. It's going to show you who your senators are. Give them a call. Say, hey, I read the Constitution this afternoon. Alex Newman and Andrew Muller told me to. And you know what? There's nothing in Article 1, Section 8 that says you can spend money to indoctrinate our kids, that you can fund a war in Ukraine without declaring war as Congress, that you can give money to immigrants illegally to come into this country. None of that is in the Constitution. And then this upcoming election, vote your values. But it has to start at the grassroots level with citizens that are educated, knowing their government.
Amen. Couldn't agree with you more, Andrew. And folks, do, when you're done watching, pick up the phone, give your senators a call their office, tell them this atrocity has got to be stopped. Also, if you want to know who your congressmen really are, go to thenewamerican.com, click on that Freedom Index. Every single one of them has a report card. We take the 10 most important votes. If they voted Constitution, they get a plus. If they voted unconstitutional, they get a minus. 100% perfect score, 0%. They voted wrong on every bill. Next time they come back and campaign or ask you for donations or do a town hall meeting, take that Freedom Index with you and ask them, why'd you vote for this? Why'd you vote for that? What part of the Constitution do you think authorizes this? Folks, stay with us. We're going to be right back. We got so much more news, and I want to share with you. I interviewed